welcome to everyone. It's great to see so many of you joining us today. I see people from all over the world joining us. That's great to see. My name is James, and I am one of the course advisors here for our online course portfolio at the University of Manchester. So I'm here to support you throughout your progression from an interest in the course right through to applying and then getting onto the course. So I'm also joined by Sophia, who is one of our study advisors. So if you'd like to say a little bit about yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm one of the study advisors. And whereas James leads you to the application process, then the study advisor team will then lead you from admissions. So once you submitted that application, we'll deal with the admissions, then straight through to graduation.
Thanks, Sophia. That's great. Yeah, we're also joined by our other course advisors on the call, and they'll be answering your questions throughout. If you post any questions in the chat or the Q&A function, they'll get to you on there. So yeah, we'll start now. So today's webinar is going to focus on what it looks like to be a student on an online course here at the University of Manchester. And we'll also give you some tips and advice about how to excel while you're studying with us. First of all, I'll introduce a little bit about the University of Manchester and why it's such a great place to choose to do your online studying. So we have a huge amount of experience here at the University of Manchester. In fact, it's our 200th year anniversary this year, which is, proof of, real strong academic history and success in many fields. There's 25 Nobel laureates associated with the University of Manchester. So some of those are on current academic staff, some students, former students and alumni. So it's real proof of how strong the University of Manchester is right across the curriculum. We're also internationally recognized. So you've probably looked at things like QS rankings and other rankings. We place very highly on those. A testament to the strong research that we do here, as well as the high quality teaching. And we also offer a diverse online course portfolio. So we have about 35 specialist online courses at the University of Manchester, and we're here to introduce a little bit of information about what it's like to study on these courses and be an online student at the University of Manchester. And we also have expertise right across the board with our teaching staff. So why study an online postgraduate course with the University of Manchester then? So we offer a great deal of flexibility as you study your course. So there's a lot of things you can do in your own time. You could study from wherever you are in the world, at home or at work. You'll have access to learning materials 24 hours a day as you progress through your studies. It's also a great opportunity to study whilst you're working. So most of our students are on a full-time job or in employment, and so they're able to do their studies alongside that as they progress. So it's a good opportunity to study and work at the same time, and we really offer a lot of support to help you balance those two parts of your life. And as you'll progress, you'll develop a lot of skills and knowledge about your chosen field, and that will feed into your career development, hopefully, and you'll be able to progress there. Also, these online courses are a great opportunity to network on a global scale. Your fellow students and academics will be from all parts of the world, and you'll really connect with a global audience. So that's a great opportunity to build up that network that you have right across the board. So there's a huge number of reasons why it's a great opportunity to study here with us. And Sophia now is going to tell you a little bit about what it actually looks like to study on these online courses with the University of Manchester.
Okay. So all the courses are delivered and assessed online through a single online learning environment. So our Our virtual learning environment is usually easy for students to navigate, and within that area, you will have access to all the course units that you will study on the course. So your current one and any past ones that you've done. So you'll always be able to access that learning material. And also you will have access to a community area, which will have some general information while you're on the course. So things like how you can access the library, how you can contact the unit leads and the program director if you need to contact the study advisor hub. Within the course units, you would also have access to things like your reading list, your timetables. Usually the program director or ourselves might send you information through announcements, and with this you will get an email. But if you don't access your emails, you can also see this information in the virtual learning environment as well through the announcement area. Again, as um, a a student of the university, you will have access to the library services. So the library also runs workshops as well, and you will have access to this through the workshop, and also your reading as well. So while you're on the course, then as I mentioned before, you'll have a timetable which will have your key dates. So as you're working through each week, you're expected to dedicate at least 15 to 20 hours, depending on what course you're on, and this will be mentioned to you by your program director or your unit lead at the start of each unit. And in the key dates timetable, it will be, if it's a 10-week unit, then it will be labeled then 1 to 10, and then each week will have a date where you're expected to go through all the learning material in that week. If it's a 15 hours that you're expected to dedicate, then you might be expected to put in 14 hours in your own time, and then 1 hour might be a tutorial that week. Tutorials might be held every week. Normally, these are pre-arranged times. However, sometimes the unit lead might contact you at the start of the course, especially if it's a course that has quite a number of students worldwide, just to find out what's the best time for each student, for more students that they will be able to log on to the tutorials. However, if you don't manage to log on to the tutorials live, they will be recorded. So in the learning materials, then you will have an introduction by the unit lead, so you will know who's leading on the course. So which academic will be leading on the course, and you would also have what your learning objectives are for each week. There will be videos for you to watch. There will be discussion topics, so you can go on to the discussion boards and interact then with fellow students about topics. You will have what your reading list for that course will be, so you can access these through the online library. You won't be expected to buy any books. All your books you can access through the online library. And then there will be activities as well that you can do. So maybe quizzes, or if there's any assessments that you need to do. And as I mentioned before, they will let you know when the tutorials are required and what dates those tutorials are. And if you're unable to access at that time, then you can watch the recording. Do you want to go to the next slide? So another area that you will see in the virtual learning environment will be assessments. Some of these assessments will be formative, so these won't require, these won't be graded. However, we do suggest that you do these because this will help us to monitor what you're learning. It will help the academic then provide feedback if there's any area then that he thinks that might need improvement, and it will help you as well when you come to the summative assessment. So it will help to improve that area of your work. And these are just some examples of some of the formative and summative assessments that are usually set. In the assessment area, you probably have at least 2 or 3 summative assessments that you will need to do per course unit. And in the area, it will tell you what weighting each. So if you do have an exam as part of yours, that might be worth 80%. And then you might also be required to do an essay, which might be 20%. Or for another course, then you might need to do like two pieces of coursework, and these might be like 30% each, and a presentation then that might be 40%, but this is just a bit of an example. So as I mentioned on the course, you will be provided with personalized support. So I'm part of the study advisor team. So for each course, you will have a named study advisor. So you will know who to go to if you have, if you need any help while on the course. And the things that we get contacted by students is maybe they might need help registration in the early stages. If you're getting problems accessing like the virtual learning environment, we can also help with that while you're on the course, even if you're having like personal problems and you just want to know what we can do to help, then we suggest getting in touch. And also in the virtual learning environment, you will see access to things like the wider university. So if you need IT support, you can also contact our IT services team. If you need any disability support or any counselling support, you'll have access to that as well. And say, while you're on the course, if you want any careers advice, you can access our career service as well. But then if the support is academic support, usually the course director or unit lead will have an online hour with students, and they will advertise what this hour is, so that if students want to just come and talk to them about different areas, then they can. However, if you just want to contact them directly, they are approachable as well. So that's just some of the personalized support that we offer to online students.
Great, thank you very much for all that information, Sophia. Very useful indeed. So following on from what Sophia's just said about that support that we offer, it's important to highlight that studying online doesn't equal studying alone. You know, you will feel very connected to the university. There is a number of teams there to support you through your academic questions or your queries that you have about being an online student. And like Sophia's mentioned, the extra support that is on offer to all online students as well as on-campus students that the University of Manchester offers. In addition to that, you're going to be well connected to the other students on your course. You're going to have opportunities to interact with them through message boards, through tutorials, and also a lot of our students do tend to set up their own sort of WhatsApp groups or social media groups with their fellow classmates, and then they can build up relationships there and interact and work through content on the course together. So you'll feel very connected to your fellow students as well as the academics on the course. And yeah, it's a great opportunity to build up that global network as you progress. In addition, you'll also be invited to a graduation ceremony at the end of your course, which you can do in Manchester if you choose to. You'll be able to come to campus to do that. Alternatively, you can get your qualifications sent to you. That's fine as well. But that option is available to all online students. And also the full access to University of Manchester resources, just the same as if you're an on-campus student. You'll gain access to all library resources and everything that's available there. And if you choose to come on campus, you know, you can also use the resources while you're in Manchester. So a few tips on how to excel as an online student. These are kind of based on the feedback that we've received from our current students and former students. So we've highlighted a few here. First is to set clear goals. So it's important that you know what you're trying to achieve, and you know the deadlines and the time in which you need to achieve those. So it's important to stay organized. Most of you will probably be doing this alongside your full-time job. So it's important that you're able to balance your commitments there and make sure that you organize your time well. So it can be good to establish a routine to do that. Some people may like to work in the mornings, the evenings, or the weekends, sometime around their job. We do have a lot of students also that have communicated with their employer, and they've given them a Friday afternoon or even a day off from work for them to focus on their studies. So it's worth talking to your manager or your employer about opportunities for that, so to help you balance your work and your studies. Alternatively, though, most students will do things on weekends, evenings, around their work commitments. Another tip is to speak up. If you are having any issues with your studies, do let us know. You know, there's a lot of support teams available at the university, and we will help you to address any issues that you have and work out a plan for you to overcome anything for that. Also, another thing is to participate actively in your studies. So, you know, the more you put in, the more you'll get out from your studies. You know, engage with the other students, the message boards, engage in your tutorials, communicate with your academics, really make use of having that access to all these resources and actively participate in your studies. There's some student stories here. You'll find these on our course web pages as well. They give a bit more of an insight into what it's like being a student on the course and how it's benefited our previous students, and some of these are current students. So do give them a read if you're on the course webpage. They're a useful resource to gain an understanding of what it's like to be a student on one of our online courses. And so next steps then, some of you may have applied already. I think some people here are going through that process right now. Some people might just be working out what the best course for them is. So if you haven't applied yet, you know, take a look at our online course portfolio. There's a large selection of courses that you can choose from, find the one that's best for you. There's lots of information on the course webpage regarding entry requirements, deadlines, and how to apply. So do have a read of that to gain an understanding of how best to apply for this course. And then finally, apply. There'll be a link to the application process on the course webpage, so you can just follow that and follow that process. And we're all here to help you with that process. So the course advisor team are on hand to support you through that process and get your application in to our admissions team. So if you do have questions about that process, or any questions about the course, you can contact us at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. It's also worth visiting the course web pages for a bit more information about the courses to gain that understanding. So that's pretty much everything for today. So yeah, if you need to contact us, feel free to use that. We've also got some questions, as you can see, come through the chat. So I think that my colleagues may have answered some of these already, but feel free to post any more questions that you have about the course, and we will get back to you on that. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I think that if we work through these, Okay, it's a question about when you will graduate. So that if somebody's doing a 2-year master's degree, what month will they typically graduate in? So Sophia, a question about graduation. So when are the graduation ceremonies held for these courses? In what month?
The graduation can either be held in July, August over the summer, or sometimes graduation is held in December. Unfortunately, I can't say specifically per course when students will actually graduate, as this we're reliant on the school once they have their progression boards to let us know which students will be graduating. So a lot of the time it will depend when the progression board is held. However, say then you were due for a December graduation, however, you were unable to attend and you wanted to graduate during the summer. This can normally be arranged and vice versa. If your graduation was due over the summer, however, you wanted to delay it to December, then that can normally be arranged as well. There is some flexibility within that.
Great, thank you, Sophia. Another question here about tuition fee payments. So this is from someone who's received an offer for one of the courses, accepted the offer already. I was wondering when or what the tuition payment fee options are, payment by installments, and when they start paying these.
If you're a self-funding student, you will be able to pay in installments, depending on what course you've applied for. You might be able to split the tuition fee then over 2 or 3 years, and then you will be able to pay that in 3 installments per year. So what you might do, you might just need to contact the team directly, and we can say for your course what it would be, whether it would be over a year or whether it would be over 2 years. If you do not have a UK bank account, normally the installments need to be arranged at registration, and students, if it's a September entry course, you can normally start paying and registering from August, and we usually ask you to complete registration by the start of the course. Most courses start early September, so they will commence on the 2nd of September this year. So we ask you to complete registration by early September.
Great, thank you, Sophia. There's one other question in the Q&A that says, if for some unexpected reason I'm unable to complete one of the units, how is this addressed? Can I resume my studies later on?
So if you're unable to it just depends how long a break you want to have. Some courses have an informal break, so if you just wanted to have a break in between, you might be able to do that. Others, you might need to request what they call an interruption. For interruption, you can request up to 1 year break, and for this you'll normally need to contact us with we will let you know what form you'll need to complete. You might need to just give evidence why you need the interruption, but normally it's pretty straightforward. You just complete a form, and then your request then would be considered by the school, and we will let you know whether the interruption. But because we try to be as flexible as possible for these online courses, usually most students are granted that interruption.
Great, thank you. And there's a question here about time differences. So with students being based in different parts of the world, will the different time differences affect my studies? And how is it done if there's a live class, if it was students in different time zones?
So usually the most courses will just have a 1 hour tutorial, and this is normally either every week or every fortnight. If you're unable, they try to set the tutorial. So most unit leads would look over the cohort and see what country everyone is from and try to set it at a time that would be accommodate more students. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to set it for all. So that's why we record the tutorials, and then you can watch these back at a later time. If you do have any questions then that might come up as part of the tutorial, then you can contact the unit lead then for assistance or help. And also with the discussion boards, because those are 24 hours, you can log on at any time and you can look at the learning material at any time. The only problem that might be with the tutorial, you might not be able to attend the live tutorial, however, it will be recorded.
Great, thank you. And one more here about after I've submitted my application, what happens next and how long before I get a reply?
So normally we try to respond to applications within a week. So hopefully you haven't been left waiting longer than a week. However, it might depend on whether we need some further information or if we have to refer it to the program director for a decision, then that might take an additional week. However, if once you've submitted your application and it's been 2 weeks and you haven't had a reply from us, it is worth emailing the Study Online team and just find out what's happening with the application. And then we can just let you know whether what's happening with it at that stage, if we are waiting for further information. However, once you submit your application, we will assess it. We might contact you if we need any additional information. If you haven't provided all the documents with your application, we might be able to make a conditional offer. So usually the conditions are usually based whether if we require English language or not, whether your reference has been submitted along with your application, or if we're still waiting on your degree, certificate and transcript. If we are able to make an unconditional offer, or even sometimes when we've made the conditional offer, we will send you that offer letter, and then we will have a deadline where we will ask you to reply to that offer. So we would just ask you to accept the offer then through our online portal. If you're unable to accept by the deadline, then sometimes it is still okay to accept it late. However, if the course does get full, then it might be that you might lose your place, because we have to make sure that we give other students the opportunity to apply. So we usually ask students to accept the offer within the 2-week deadline. However, if you're unable to accept within that, you can contact us and just let us know why you're unable to accept. And then once you've accepted the offer, if we're waiting on further information, if it is a conditional offer, then you just need to submit that additional information by the 31st of July. If it's an unconditional offer, then we normally send you further information at least a month before the course on how to register, and details of the online induction that will be held then before the course starts. I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Sophia. I think that's covered most of the questions we've got. There's a couple of questions about fees and scholarships, so I quickly answer that one. It's worth looking at the course webpage, the specific course webpage for questions about fees and funding. They do vary from course to course, so pick the course that you're interested in, visit the webpage, and you'll be able to find information about fees and funding there. And if there is any scholarship opportunities for any of those courses, that will also be highlighted. There's a question about the 15 hours per week commitment. So yeah, that's what we recommend. There is some live elements, as Sophia mentioned, a live tutorial each week, and then additional content will be working through reading and the online content for each of the units, and then things like tests, quizzes, message boards, and then towards the end of the unit you'll start to work towards your assignments, and then maybe the time commitment might increase as you start working through assignments that take up a little bit of extra time, and you can work through those. So that's the rough kind of thing that we recommend, is about 15 to 20 hours per week that we recommend you commit to studying these part-time courses. And I think that is all of our questions. That's great. So we've got through all of those. If you have any other questions that you think of later, feel free to email us at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. and we'd be happy to reply to you there and provide you with any more information you have. So there should be a quick poll that's come through, so please feel free to fill that in. And we look forward to hearing from you soon with any of the questions, and also hope some of you submit an application, and we'll look out for those and support you through that process. So thank you for answering all those questions to my colleagues there, and Sophia as well. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll end there. So thank you all, and bye for now.